So here we go, back at our Cowshot shop and test centre with Mr. Nick Baker.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us again. Duotone foils.
Yes.
I remember being at a dealer conference with you
a
few years ago. Tenerife, seeing the foil wing and this crazy inflatable wing.
Yep.
Everyone's like, what the hell?
5 years ago now, I think, yeah.
A little bit. I moved on. I also remember at that conference, I can't remember who, but somebody stood up and said, foiling, falls under the boards, we drop the ball slightly. And I'm like, that's pretty honest.
Yeah.
And I have to say that having worked with yourself and Duotone, Fanatic prior to, for a long time now, honest is one of the things I'd say the relationship is.
Yeah, we're working together.
Yeah, without a doubt. But it was quite refreshing to see somebody stand up and say, we got it wrong. We know that, but we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, in the 5 years since, no one's mucked about at Fanatic and Duotone as it is now.
A lot of time and money, and got some really clever people involved.
Yeah, and you haven't stood still again.
Nope.
So, best-selling front wing, certainly for us, and I think for Duotone as a whole, is without a doubt the Glide, the Aero Glide series. 1085 that we have here.
Pretty much the staple size for the majority of people.
Yeah, and it's, for us here at the test centre environment, it's probably the wing that we know we can put people on, even if they're like beyond the beginner stage, but you know, a good beginner touching on intermediate, and we know we can put someone on this and they're like, whoa, I can't ride that. It's like, well, give it a go, you'll be fine. And they're kind of blown away just how easily accessible. Yeah, forgiving.
A relative, it's not massively high aspect, and you'll see the new one is slightly higher aspect, but it is for a relatively high aspect foil, very, very forgiving. And if I want to see it caught myself by surprise, if you like, we were initially, when we were first sort of announced it and people were talking to us about it, you know, we were widening our sort of range, if you like, it within the, at the time, Fanatic going to Duotone. Guys like, well, you know, I think I want to glide. You know, we would say, well, what level are you at? You're jibing most of the time. No. I'm skidding some, but I'm struggling. Initially, we were like, well, that's not really a foil for you. You want aero free. It sort of does it all fairly well. And, okay, you know, but then really quickly, generally at our demos, you know, you use yourself at your demo centres, we cottoned on to, actually, it's, you know, we were all this high aspects, quite tricky, twitchy, but we found very early on that actually it isn't. It actually accelerated people. Once they got to a certain confidence level, and a lot of it with wing, we know with a foil, it comes down to your confidence.
Yep.
You know, if you feel confident, you know, you can walk around the board when you're not everything's stiff and it sort of moves away from you and catches you out. Once you feel fairly confident, okay, you might not be jibing all the time. Fun enough, we put them onto a Glide, which obviously it's in the name. The foil, when it's going, it stays going and it glides for a long time.
Oh, this does what it says on the tin.
So
no
halfway
question.
through your turn, when you're mucking up and you're moving your feet and the wing's doing something it shouldn't be, it keeps going.
Yeah.
So by the time you've got the wing under control, your feet in the right place, you think rather than being breached or dropped out, you're still going. You're like, oh, hang on, I've pulled another jibe off.
Yeah.
And that really caught us by surprise, if I'm honest. So you've got that reasonably intermediate level up to the more higher performance level. In the blasting guys, I use it for pump foiling, you know, the bigger sizes we have now. Now we've got the amper course, but downwinding.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys use it down because it's actually very stable from rail to rail.
Yeah.
You know, sort of the opposite, if you like, to a whiz, which rolls from rail to rail. It's designed to do that, whereas the glide's very stable. Once you're up and going, it's nice and sort of confidence inspiring, if you like.
But that is the thing, I think, for a lot of people that do, and confidence is I think the key word, is that people are really surprised as to how quickly they get on the foil and it just feels comfortable. It feels like you've used it before, and it does just inspire confidence that you can still, as you say, you might not be nailing every jibe every time, but you can still progress, and the overall riding, the overall sensation of glide and flight is just extended further still for being on what is a performance wing, but an easily accessible performance.
Yes.
So with this being as popular as it is, and Duotone not standing still, we've got the 2.0.
Yes.
So talk us through the changes, if you like, in the wing, because the overall outline shape is pretty evident that you can see they're dramatically different, and it's really the chord length around the centre midsection
that allows the new foil to get going really early, really forgiving in that sort of initial start rather than dropping out if you haven't got enough board speed, which sort of high aspect foils can do. So you've got a nice sort of chord, if you like, in this sort of centre part. It actually, if you look at it, it goes thinner through the tips.
Yeah.
You know, narrower and thinner, obviously on the foil. That allows it, one, it gives you a nice sort of, a bit of a faster fill. It's slightly higher aspect between, I think on the size between 10.2 and 10.3, so a higher aspect foil than the older one, but still very forgiving. It will fill and will be faster. And that's even in the 3-bolt system.
You're up and flying slightly earlier as well, I feel.
Slightly earlier than you, with this sort of larger area through this main section when you're pumping to get yourself going. You've got a bit more support, if you like, to push on to get you going. Once you're going, and you know, obviously they're a little bit thinner through the tip, so it will fill faster, more live. Still have that real nice stable feel on top of the water, but when you start getting a bit creative and you're carving and turning, the tips get close to the water, sort of the air, the surface, or even breach.
Yeah.
By having it sort of smaller, narrower, and slightly sort of less chord, it sucks less air down. So ultimately, if the tip does breach, it doesn't then drop out as easy.
Yeah.
So it's more forgiving in that sense. Whether that is entry-level jibing or more high-performance guys on waves, downwinding, pump foiling, etc. So across the sort of spectrum of the different uses of it.
So as accessible as the performance still remains in this, it is a performance wing, and I think, you know,
more performance even than it was before, but still keeping that accessibility was really important for us. Generally, was on Fnatic, obviously now on Duotone. We want high-end products as well, as entry-level, intermediate, etc. of course, but even our high-end product, we want people maybe even at an intermediate level to still be able to jump on it and experience it.
And I think it's important to reiterate as well that there is legacy within the product. So this does, if you have a Fnatic fuselage, this still fits, still bolts on, everything else like that.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Glide 2.0 and it being that easily accessible high performance wing set, you've then also got the ultimate in terms of high performance
we've been getting so many calls, emails, talks about people. Obviously, since the carved DLAB came out, it's been so successful for us, for our team. Very fast they are, but also incredible. Most of the freestyle tour use them in international stuff as well. But now, obviously, with the Glide DLAB, I think this one will be, the 900 I do believe will be our biggest seller by far.
So the overall outline shape remains the same as it does in the standard SLS?
The 2.0 in the SLS version. We only do 620, 750 and 900 in the DLAB, obviously because once you get bigger, the way the connection points and this sort of DLAB fuselage then becomes bigger and bigger, and then there's less advantage of it. So there was no need for that. And in the SLS version, we sell at 750 and go up to 1350.
Yeah.
One thing definitely to notice for the guys is you can sort of ride the neck size down. So if you're a 1085 current Glide, the Glide 2.0 you could ride a 900.
Wow.
It may be slightly more difficult to get going, just a little bit, but the moment you're going, the Glide is better than 1085, sorry. But actually the speed is faster, the maneuverability is faster, and the Glide is epic.
It's just much more agile.
Yeah, so you can actually ride a smaller one. So rather than going to a 1595 that we used to, the biggest we do is a 1350. And that has the same sort of glide, whether you're light wind foiling or downwinding, what a lot of people do as well, pump foiling. Then rather than the 1595, now you'll be on a 1350 for equivalent.
And if people aren't familiar with the DLAB series of wings, the one thing that is missing at the minute, and I'm sure we'll interject it with some of the B-roll, is the back half, the tailpiece of the fuselage ultimately. So you've got two different lengths on there?
Yep, 37 and 43. So the equivalent of 37, once joined, is equivalent to a 60 cm fuselage.
Yep.
The 43 is equivalent to the 66. So that gives you the idea. It's actually written on a full 43 and then in brackets in a 66. Yep. Obviously the longer one is sort of less sort of porpoising up and down, makes it more stable. If it's tricky, you maybe not as confident. Personally, I actually always ride the long one. I'm heavier, so I don't necessarily find that I need anything to turn.
No, you're not.
More. I am.
Who told you that?
You wouldn't believe it, but yeah. So yeah, I'm often in bumpy, choppy conditions, so I want a little bit more control as opposed to any more manoeuvrability. Obviously, our hot team riders and younger, fitter, or maybe more performing guys, they end up going for the shorter one.
Yep.
If you're going on the bigger front wings as well, once you get maybe to 1100 and above, you can then go on the shorter, because obviously you've got that ability of getting going in lighter winds, but with the shorter fuselage being wider, they don't turn as well. But with the shorter fuselage, that obviously counteracts that and allows it to manoeuvre.
Just livens up the whole setup.
Absolutely.
Well, fantastic. Well, do you know what? I mean, we were thrilled with the Aero Glide. As you say, it's been by far and away the most popular wing for us and setup overall. This, the 2.0, again, it's knocked on a level.
Oh, it is really next level. The DLAB, people have been waiting for, we know that. So I think people are going to really enjoy riding it, seeing the product. It comes with our new H-tail stab as well, which is designed to be sort of faster, more slippery and better glide. Better for pumping as well, so if you're using it for downwinding, pump foiling, and obviously you're kicking out of waves, maybe pumping to other waves, and it actually aids that. We have it obviously on our pump foilers as well, so you can interject them between all of our rear tail pieces, but that's the one if you buy it as a set that we pair it up with.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, look, Nick, thank you. There you have it. If you are after the ultimate kind of performance but easily accessible wing set from Duotone, come down to the centre here, give the Glide 2.0 a try, and then maybe treat yourself and try a DLAB as well, and really find out the differences in those wings and let us help find what's right for you. Thanks for watching our video. If you've got any questions about what you've seen, why not give us a call in the shop or head over to thesupco.com. To stay up to date though with all of our videos, well, make sure you subscribe up here and hit the notification bell. But to see our next video, well, take a look up here.